The following program is a PodcastOne.com production.
From Hollywood, California, by way of the Broken Skull Ranch, this is the Steve Austin Show.
Give me a hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Now, here's Steve Austin.
Coming to you from my secret location. I was trying to keep my location on the kayfabe, on the down low, so nobody knew where I was at. But it seems like that is quite impossible with the advent of Facebook, social media, etc., etc., etc. So basically, folks, I'm coming to you from Livonia, Georgia, and Lake Hartwell, Georgia. And I tell you what, ever since I rolled into this town, this is probably one of the most friendliest places I have ever been in my entire life. People out here are so goddamn friendly, it is absolutely beyond me. So, to the people out here in the Hartwell, Livonia area, thank you for all your hospitality. I appreciate it. Y'all got some badass stuff out here. The country is absolutely beautiful. Got a badass grocery store to get all my groceries. I'm on a house over here at the lake. I got a dock over here. Now, I ain't got the keys to the jet ski out there. Maybe I'll go rent me a boat or do something like that, because now that I'm out here in the lake, I can tear this motherfucker up. That last time when I told you all that story about me renting that boat in the Pacific Ocean, I didn't have nowhere to go. Once I come out of that marina, we was out in the ocean, and them waves was coming over the damn top of the boat. Y'all heard the damn story. And my wife's yelling at me to slow the fuck down, and we took it back to the marina. But this lake is so green and smooth, I might bust out a water ski, get my big ass out there on the damn top of that water, start cutting back and forth if I can find me a driver. Don't get me wrong. Everybody say, Steve, you can't ski. Shit. Growing up as a kid, we learned how to ski at Port O'Connor, Texas, in the Intercoastal Canal. Me and all my brothers and my sister, I was a skiing son of a bitch back in the day. And don't even think about a boogie board, a wakeboard, whatever they call them things anymore. I was the main man from Amsterdam on that motherfucker. So anyway, I don't know that I'll get out in a boat on the lake. But if I get the keys to that jet ski, and you know what? With some of my 4-in-1 screwdrivers, my pocket knife, I might be able to go out there and hotwire that motherfucker and take it for a ride. Then again, I might just ask the people that I'm renting a house from if they will let me borrow it. And that would circumvent the fact that I would have to hotwire said jet ski. Anyway, hey, it's going to be an interesting show, folks. I got this sweet-ass crib I'm staying at. But I don't think these people are used to renting their house out because there's so many personal effects that they left behind. I ain't got no room to put all my groceries. I rolled up into the grocery store the other day after I finally got checked out of the Holiday Inn Select. And let me give a shout out to all the people over at the Holiday Inn Select. Y'all done treated me like gold while I was there. Had a great time staying with you, but I got to have a wash and a dryer. I got to have some other things. Got to be able to cook my own meals. There wasn't no stove over there, so I had to fly to Coop and come over here. Now, the problem with this place is, you're not going to believe this, folks. There ain't no wireless internet over here. And when I was signing the papers to come over here, now I thought that there was a little bit of internet over here. And then the guy tells me, well, if you walk over to the next door neighbor's house, if you're over on that side of the house, you can get on his guest network and you have a great signal. All you got to do is go over there, introduce yourself to him, and see if he'll give you the passcode so you can get on. Now, that sounded good at the time, but my stupid ass should have said, hey, Mr. So-and-so, can you throw down a call to Gimmick Name and let him know that I'm going to come over and introduce myself, and maybe he can let me get the code so I could get on his guest network so that I can entertain the fine folks that listen to the Steve Austin Show, so I can get on to my Skype account and talk to some wrestlers while I'm down here, so I've got some information on the computer that's going to involve stuff that's going on in the world, so I can talk about that on my Steve Austin Show. No, I didn't think about doing that because that's how dumb I was. I was ready to get out of the Holiday Inn Select, people that treated me like gold, so I'd have a little bit more square footage and have the conveniences that I need to support my dietary needs. Well, here's the thing. I got a badass house. I got a badass deck around this thing. And I try to unload my groceries, and all the cabinets have these Post-it notes on them. It says owners. Everywhere you look, at every one of these cabinets, it says owners, 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 owners. Well, these people are really, 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 really nice. But I don't know where the flying fuck I'm supposed to put my groceries. So there's a formal living room up in this motherfucker. And that's where I got all my shit, all my groceries. Then I cleared out the refrigerator. I got refrigerator space. I got a little bit of counter space. But these people got shit everywhere. So anyway, it is what it is. I'm dealing with that. We just rolled cameras today. Hell, Redneck Island is officially underway. I got up this morning, brushed my teeth, took a shower, ate breakfast, got in the car, went down to the set where the redneck's going to roll in here in a little bit, and did what we call in the business hero shots. Me standing up there on the crib looking like a motherfucker with my outfit on. I won't tell you what outfit I was wearing, but I was wearing a cool-ass outfit for my hero shots. Now, y'all people know that I got another show coming up right after this one. I'm filming Redneck Island right now. Take us about 26 days to shoot this thing. Then I'm going to roll down to Los Angeles, California, where we will start shooting Season 2 of Broken Skull Challenge almost immediately. I'll have a week between gigs. That's a good thing for me because I closed down 2014 with 2 back-to-back gigs. Got a little duckus to buy Mama a Christmas present up in this mug, right? So anyway, I'm a little bit heavier than I would like to be. I've put on some muscle mass over the last few weeks, but I've also put on a little bit of drum mass because, like I've been telling you people, I'm trying to work on a beer. I've been sampling a lot of different beers, try to come up with the flavor. And when I drink beer, I always tend to hold my weight in my midsection, my ass, and my thighs. Heaven forbid that I hold a little extra body weight in my jacks or something like that. It's just in my legs, my ass, and my waist. And so here's the thing. Sometimes when I'm out there on set, the worst thing about me is I'm on camera. I hate working my core. I need to start doing some DDP yoga or some kind of shit. And so I always remind myself, dude, you got to suck in your drum. Suck in your drum while you on camera. And I always forget. And there I am with that weak-ass diaphragm with my gut stuck out. And it ain't like I got a bad gut. It's the bad gut on top of the weak diaphragm that adds to the fact that it looks like I'm a fat motherfucker. So this time, right before I was packing all my bags up, my wife was on her computer in the office, and she said, you know, they got Spanx for men now. And y'all know what Spanx are. All you females know what Spanx are. Spanx are basically like a tight pair of underwear that come up around your waist to make your waist look small. And they might have suspender straps on them, too. I ain't never seen a pair of the motherfuckers in person. But now they make Spanx for men. And I looked at my wife and I said, hell no. I ain't wearing no motherfucking Spanx. If the word on the street got out that a global icon and a national treasure, America's favorite beer drinker, one bad motherfucker walking down the street, hosting Redneck Island, the toughest show on television, the Broken Skull Ranch, was wearing Spanx? Spanx? I ain't wearing no goddamn Spanx. Shit. So anyway, my wife couldn't see why I was too egomaniacal to wear said Spanx. I'll suck in my drum. I'll do some planks tonight. I'll do what I got to do. Maybe cut back on the carbohydrates a little bit. But Spanx ain't in my future. So you heard it here first, folks. Homie don't wear no Spanx. And in this case, homie is a man named Steve Austin. Shit. I can't believe she had the nerve to offer me to get some Spanx on the internet and get them shipped to the house. I'm going to remember to hold in my drum on this show. Jesus Christ. I can't believe she said that. You talk about chipping away at a man's ego. Shit. God damn it. What was she thinking? Spanx for me? So anyway, I ain't wearing no Spanx. But with that being said, let's get this show on the road and get through this first spot and kick this thing into high gear.
This is the Steve Austin Show. Steve Austin Unleashed.
All right, folks, and now here we go. I'm just going to start off telling you a couple of stories that have happened to me since I've been here, and these are true stories, and then I'm going to get on to answer some of the questions that y'all sent in. Let's rock and roll. I went to the store the other day to buy my groceries, and I got a pretty short grocery list to accommodate my new diet that I'm on. And basically my diet is about 2,800 calories. I tell y'all this all the time. It's about 2,800 calories. I jacked up the protein, or jacked down the protein a little bit. And then I took the carbs down to about 200, and I actually lowered my fat intake. So I brought all my groceries home. And you know, it's always hard when you're trying to stock a house for the first time to get your shit going, because they got all these Post-it notes everywhere that says owners, owners, owners. That means I ain't supposed to get in their shit. So anyway, I bring all my shit back, and I put it on the living room table in here, and the master dining room, whatever you call it, the formal dining room. And, you know, I didn't know if they was going to have paper towels for me. So I didn't want to get a whole shit pile like you get at Costco. You know, like when you buy paper towels at Costco, you get that damn thing that's got about 12 rolls in there. So I had just one roll of paper towels, and I couldn't find the doubles. And then finally, I saw that big, bad, macho motherfucker, Brawny. The dude, like looking at him right here. Dude got the plaid shirt on, got his hands on his hips. Brawny. Yeah, that's the kind of damn paper towels I bought. I bought the toughest motherfucking paper towels they had. I got me a bunch of bananas, and I got some paper plates. Did y'all know that even when I'm in Los Angeles, California, I eat most damn every one of my meals off a paper plate? Now, that would anger some of you who are on the side of being green. So I guess I'm not the greenest human being on this planet. Also due to the fact that I got a 95 Bronco and a 96 Suburban that burn a lot of damn gas and offer out a lot of pollution. So anyway, to try to make things easy for me, I bought all this stuff. And I bought me a bunch of damn packs of lean ground beef. I got a bunch of damn packs of boneless, skinless chicken breasts. I got me a half-gallon of fat-free organic milk. I got me some salsa. I got me a case and a half of Diet Red Bull to keep my damn energy up. And then when it came down to get some eggs, I was like, well, man, how many eggs do I need? And there it was right in front of me. A 60-pack. And my guy who had already tried to do my shopping for me had already got me a dozen and a half, so that's 18. And I saw that 60-pack. I said, shit, that's got my name written all over it. Reminded me of that old movie Cool Hand Luke, when Paul Newman was the new prisoner who came into the system, and George Kennedy played the part of Dragline. And Dragline was the kind of guy who ran the prison. And this was back in the old days. If you've never seen the movie Cool Hand Luke, to all you young hipsters that listen to the show, I highly recommend that you watch this movie because it's one of the best movies of all time. And it's in my top 3 favorite movies of all time. So anyway, they laying up at the prison. It's hotter than a motherfucker. Everybody's sweating. I believe they might have been playing cards. Or Cool Hand Luke, Paul Newman, the one and only Paul Newman, good-looking cat with the blue eyes, was laying over there. And he wasn't fitting in at first. And all of a sudden he says, I can eat 50 eggs. Somebody says, nobody can eat 50 eggs. Now, George Kennedy, who started taking towards Paul Newman, says, my boy Luke says he can eat 50 eggs. He can eat 50 eggs. We got a bet here. Babaluga. So anyway, I got 60 eggs. Then I got another 18. I got 78 total eggs. That'll last me about 1 week because I eat 12 egg whites every single morning. And every now and then I eat out anyway because before I got over here to the crib, I was eating all my meals over at Waffle House. Now, Waffle House is an institution. Waffle House was started in 1955. They have, I don't know how many locations they got, but they in 25 states and predominantly in the southeastern states. So a lot of people ain't never heard of a Waffle House. But to all my brothers and sisters who've been out on the road in the business of professional wrestling, Waffle Houses are institutions where we all love to stop because whether you want to eat clean dirty or just flat out junk, you can get it at Waffle House. They got good food, and it's very consistent. And I love me some Burt's chili up in this mug. You can go in there. You can get egg whites. You can get chicken breast. If you want a little bit of a health kick, you can get your hash browns steamed rather than you putting any oil on them. And while I was sitting there trying to think of what them hash browns was called, I had to push my stop button 3 times. And when I thought of it, I was fixing to say it, and then I forgot it again. I kept pushing my pause button, so I'm going to say it one more time. Hash browns, motherfucker. Hash browns. Hash browns. Sorry about that. I'm so fucking mad. Hash browns. You can get steamed hash browns at Waffle House. So I've been eating all my meals over there for the past couple days, and then I noticed that when I'd come over here to check out this new rental house I was going to stay at, that they had a barbecue pit on the back grill out here by the lake. And I asked the dude, and it had a Georgia Bulldogs cover on it. I'm in Bulldog country because we close to Athens, Georgia, home of the University of Georgia, just like when I'm over at Norman with my buddy Jumpin' Jim Ross, the white meat baby face with a hell of a drop kick. This is Georgia Bulldogs country. So I said, does that grill work? He said, yes, sir, it does. I said, is there propane in it? He said, yes, sir, there is. All you got to do is turn the gas on and start it up, and you're ready to go. Well, I got ready to cook some hamburger patties last night. Went out there, pulled off that Georgia Bulldog cover, and there it was, a Charbroil brand barbecue pit. That's a great brand. But this motherfucker was about a 1962 model. And I said, son of a bitch, I didn't know I was going to be barbecuing on a fucking antique. Then I opened the lid. These people must have bought this barbecue pit in 1962 and have used it every day since 1972. It was burnt up, and because sometimes when it sits, it was rusted up. And then when I turned the gas on the propane cylinder, turned the dials on the barbecue pit, hit the ignite button, it kicked right off. And a flame flickered up like one on a Bic lighter with the setting turned on high. I said, well, now look at here up at this motherfucker. My wife used to have a pit just like this, except hers was an 82 model, 1982, 20 years newer, but with the same bullshit flame gimmick on it. So I said, well, this is all I got to work with, so you got to make chicken salad out of chicken shit sometimes. So I got my 3 hamburger patties, which were 93.7 lean ground beef, and put them all around the little flame that flickered on the barbecue pit. Come back a little bit later, and I said, man, I need to flip these motherfuckers now. I look around, I ain't have a spatula to flip them with. So I started scouring around the kitchen. But every damn time I come to a cabinet where I think there might be a spatula in it because there wasn't none on the damn counter space, it said owners, owners, owners. I said, well, fuck. They got to have at least a spatula the renter can borrow for just 15 minutes to cook his hamburgers. Finally, I found a little bitty-ass narrow white spatula. Went out there and flipped my fucking burgers a couple times, waited about another 30 minutes for that little flame that flickered to cook them so I wasn't eating the goddamn medium rare hamburgers. Ate my hamburgers, washed the spatula, put it back where it said in the owner's file, and then got my country ass into my rent-a-car, a little SUV. I think it's like a Chevrolet Envoy or something like that, and it's got a hatchback on it. And I've been driving that motherfucker back and forth to the grocery store and Walmart to get all my victuals and all my fixings. And I was wondering, was the hatchback going to pop up on this sumbitch like my BMW with them little ass sun visors? This motherfucker got big sun visors, and that hatchback ain't opened by itself yet. Safe vehicle. I got my seatbelt on. I ain't got no dogs with me. I ain't got no worries. So here's what I did. I go down to Walmart, and I'm starting looking at all the skillets, and my wife is talking to me at the time on the telephone. Now, as guys, you know what I'm saying when I say this. You're always trying to buy the right skillet. And you need about a 12.5-inch skillet because that'll get 12 egg whites. If you're going to use it to cook chicken or a hamburger, whatever. It's easy to brown everything in about a 12.5-inch skillet with that Calphalon shit on it. Well, I was in the wrong section. I was in the section where they wanted $50. $50 for a damn skillet. I told my wife, I said, well, shit, I don't want to spend $50 on one of these motherfuckers. But when I was in that owner's drawer over there, they had a skillet that I didn't like, and I wasn't supposed to be cooking on it anyway. So I moved down to the right of the aisle, and I picked up a skillet for, I think it was $23.98. And then came the major factor, a spatula. Now, I picked out a good spatula, and I brought that spatula home, and then they put the sticker on it to talk about how slick the surface was on this goddamn spatula. It was non-stick. But they put a sticker on it, and the sticker was the stickiest goddamn glue I've ever seen in my life. I busted out my military-grade Spyderco and started peeling off that damn sticker with my pocket knife, and it's supposed to be a non-stick surface. But they stuck this sticker on there like a motherfucker. That thing had a lifetime guarantee. Took me 15 minutes to get that sticker off, and by the time I got through carving it off, I needed to bust out my sharpening sticks to sharpen up my Spyderco because that's how much damage it had done to the blade. Anyway, I got a spatula, and I got a skillet up in this son of a bitch. And then it was on to the real big purchase. I was going to buy what they call a hot spot. This little sumbitch that you plug into a wall, and you buy a little calling card gimmick, and then you go to your house, you plug this gimmick in, you call a number, you talk to someone. Well, first of all, I couldn't get a human being, and it was giving me all the different options that I didn't need. I needed to turn my hotspot on, activate the card, so I had 5 gigabytes. However much 5 gigabytes worth of storage or memory is, that's what I bought for $50. And so I'm trying to activate this thing, and I can't do it by myself. Every time I say representative, operator, it kicked me to a different robot. Finally, a human being came on, faintly, at the very far end of the earth, in a different country, trying to guide me through the steps to set up my hotspot. I couldn't set this motherfucker up to save my life. Then he tells me, how long have you been charging up the hotspot? I said, I just plugged it in about 10 minutes ago. He said, well, the signal's not strong enough. You need to charge it for 3 to 5 hours. I'm thinking, dude, if it's plugged in and it's lighting up, it ought to be a strong enough signal. But I couldn't argue that case because he was saying I needed to charge it up so that it had more range. Well, that wasn't going to help me because it started about 8 p.m. last night, and I need to get my podcast done ASAP so I can send this motherfucker in. Oh, yeah, here's another story I forgot to tell you, because when I was talking to my neighbor about getting on the neighbor's Wi-Fi and signing on his guest account, if I just walked over there and introduced myself, I never got around to telling you guys that story, so that's what I did. I went all the way down my driveway, took a right, went all the way up his driveway. It's a pretty good distance, and I'm thinking to myself, now, it's kind of secluded out here. People are real private. They ain't used to seeing a whole lot of people like me out here. A dude in tennis shoes wearing camouflage shorts, a tank top, a goatee with sunglasses knocking on your door. So I rang his doorbell. Now I'm thinking, man, I'm from Texas. This is Georgia. Some things are, a lot the same. Some things are a lot different. He did have a welcome sign on his front porch, but how welcome would I actually be? Who knows? You see a cat like me walking up, you think I'm going to steal something, you stick a gun out the window and start shooting. So I rang the doorbell, and I stepped back a few feet to not look like such an imposing figure, because some people say I look scary. I don't think I look scary, but when I don't smile, some people assume that I'm a very mean person. So I'm sitting there, and all of the lights in the house are off. But it's about 7 p.m. and it's still daylight. So I figure, man, maybe this dude's one of them frugal cats trying to avoid electricity bill. So anyway, nobody answers the door. And I'm sitting, all right, I'm kind of looking through there a little bit, looking to see if I see any movement, see if he's trying to kayfabe me. He's sneaking around in there. Nothing. The dude's SUV was in the driveway. He didn't answer the door. So then I'm thinking, okay, man, maybe this cat works shift work and he's sleeping. What do? Do you ring the doorbell again? Or you just turn around and go back home? I decided I would not bother this man. I decided that we would try to get in touch with him the next day and to see if I could get on his internet, walk my country ass back home to the house, ate a burger, and I heard something yelling my name. Steve! 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 I looked around, I said, who the fuck could it be? Ain't nobody out here knows me. Who's calling my name? Steve! I looked over, and it was that bottle of Pinot Noir. 667 is the brand name. And it was that bottle of wine calling my ass. It said, Steve, it's time for you to start winding down. You got a big day tomorrow filming the first day of Redneck Island. You got to get your beauty sleep. Time for you to have a drink of me, and let's start chilling out and getting ready for bed. Your podcast can wait until the morning. So I said, 667, you right. I busted open my Swiss Army knife, which I carry everywhere I go because my Spyderco military-grade pocket knife, single blade, ain't got a corkscrew attachment, but my Swiss Army knife does. Screwed down in that cork, pulled the top off, and was about to pour a glass of wine, and I realized I ain't got no wine glasses up in this motherfucker. Started going through the cabinets that said owners, owners, owners. And I got a coffee cup. I've been drinking the coffee cups, which I'm not supposed to use. I ain't got a wine glass. So I did what any smart, resourceful, quick-thinking redneck would do. I grabbed my plastic measuring cup, which I forgot to remind you that I bought a while ago at Walmart, and fill that motherfucker up with 8 ounces of 667 Pinot Noir. Now, it's interesting how they came up with the name 667 Pinot Noir. How did they come up with that name? I think if they'd have called it 666, I would not have drank it because then I would turn into the Antichrist. My head would spin in a 360-degree circle, and I would do evil things. But since this was 667, I felt safe, and due to the fact we also drink this very same wine at our house in Los Angeles. And since I'm on a little bit of an eating program, I can tell my guy who made my diet I had precisely 8 ounces of wine because it was in a plastic motherfucking measuring cup. Now, when you drink wine, and I'm a little bit of a wine snob, you like to do it in a wine glass. And I use the kind of wine glasses that don't have a stem. I don't need the stem. It's easy to turn that motherfucker over. But I like a decent wine glass. But anyway, I'm not so much of a snob, and I wanted to drink of the 667 so much that I compromised and was drinking out of the plastic source, the plastic measuring cup. Wasn't all that in a bag of chips, but it wasn't that bad either, and it served its purpose. So I go through some emails that I was able to get on my iPhone. I get a little bit of service on my iPhone, but I don't get enough to pick out all y'all's questions that I'm fixing to answer. But nonetheless, pick out a few questions, read a little bit, and it's time to go night-night. It is time to go to sleep. Well, try as I may, because I was so excited about rolling cameras, I could not sleep. So what'd I do? Get up, grab my plastic measuring cup, and get about another 4 ounces of 667. Finally, sleep came. I went to sleep and woke up and got ready for the first day of filming. I'm going to come right back. Things are going good out here. I've got lots of challenges, lots of horse shit that I'm fighting through, but we're going to have a good season here. We got some good rednecks coming. I've seen some pictures of them. It's going to be gangbusters. It's going to be a good show, and I'm going to have a good time. And I'm going to come right back to tell you a few more of my stories right after I take a little pause for the cause, a word from my sponsors who keep this show on the air for free.
The Steve Austin Show. The Steve Austin Show. Steve Steve Austin Unleashed.
All right, everybody. Appreciate you sticking around, taking a pause for the cause. All my sponsors keep us on the air for free each week. We appreciate the support they give us and appreciate you guys supporting us by clicking on the Amazon links to help our brother out to pay all these bills that come with opening up 2 cans of audio whoop-ass each and every single week. I forgot to tell you a story a while ago. Before I went and got my groceries, I was on a mission to get a coffee pot. And I'm a little bit of a coffee snob, too. So what happened was I just couldn't sleep one night over at the Holiday Inn Select, so I got up about 5:30 a.m., took a shower, got dressed. There's a Waffle House about a quarter mile from the hotel. I walked into the Waffle House, got 2 grilled chicken breasts, hash brown scattered, smothered, a couple cups of coffee, had a good breakfast. Also got a little bowl of grits, but they put too much butter in the grits. Don't get the grits. So anyway, I'm thinking to myself, here's my game plan. What you're going to do is go down to the Walmart and get yourself one of them Keurig coffee makers, Keurg, however you spell it, because it's supposed to make some pretty good coffee, and they put them little gimmicks in there in that little cup, and you push the lever down, and it makes you coffee. So it's a lot easier than the Mr. Coffee drip makers because I just don't dig that kind of coffee. So what I'm going to do is finish my meal, go buy the coffee maker, and then go to the gym. But as I'm leaving Waffle House, I'm thinking to myself, I know what's going to happen. I know I'm going to need to go to the bathroom once that breakfast and all that coffee starts percolating. I'm going to need to take a dump. Now, should I go back to the hotel and take a dump first, or then just be able to go to Walmart, get the coffee maker, and then go to the gym and take a dump when I get back? Now, it's a heavy-duty decision because I'm not just one of them guys that likes to take a dump anywhere in the world. I got my standards. Y'all have heard me talk about this before in the past podcast. But since you guys know me, I'm kind of ADD. I'm a little bit destination-driven. I figured, hell, ain't nothing but a thing like a chicken wing on a shoestring. So I'll go ahead and let my food digest. I'll kill an hour while I go to Walmart, do my research on the Keurig coffee maker, then go to the gym, then come back, and I should be able to make it until then to take said dump. Well, it didn't happen like that. What happened was I went down, bought a coffee maker, but while I was in the coffee maker, I had to do my research because Keurig had just come out with a new model, and I wasn't getting very good reception in the store, but I had to make sure that this coffee maker would be copacetic with what I was going to do because it cost $100. And it said you got to make sure that you use Keurig brand gimmick cups to put in there because if you use one that is not branded Keurig, it is considered an imposter, a fake, a bootleg, and it will not compute, and it will say error on the computer screen of the coffee maker. So I was doing all my due diligence before I made a $100 purchase. Finally, I came to the conclusion that there was plenty of these little pods to go in the little gimmick to pull the lever down and pulled the trigger and made the purchase. Then I went over to the coffee section and got 3 big-ass boxes. I think there's about 18 coffee pods in each one of them. And then they gave me a couple of them with the coffee maker that I bought. And I was all happy as a lark. And I was checking out, and I was like, kind of started sweating, a little bit of that cold sweat. And I was like, man, my stomach started rumbling. I'd already drank about a gallon of coffee, 2 chicken breasts, hash browns scattered and smothered, a little bit of grits with some butter on them. And I was feeling the effects. Something was about to happen. Houston, we have a problem. Houston, we have a big problem. Houston, I need to take a dump. And I mean, I got to take a dump right now. Well, coupled with the fact that I was doing my research, the nice people of Livonia and Hartwell kept coming up to me and asking me if I could take a picture with them and sign their autographs, of course, of which I happily obliged. Because you're always happy with the people that was able to help you support you and make a living, and I always appreciate my fan base. So I was taking pictures and smiling and holding babies and doing the whole 9 yards. The whole time, my gut's rumbling. Rumbling like damn Chris Berman says on ESPN. I knew that I had to make a break for it. I knew that I had to get back in my Chevrolet Envoy or whatever the fuck my rent-a-car is and make it back to the Holiday Inn Select and drop the Browns off at the Super Bowl. I don't want to drop the Browns off at the Super Bowl. I wanted to put them in a toilet bowl. I had to do something. I had to drop the kids off at the pool. I had to take a dump, folks, and I was on my way. And I was sweating bullets. I was a man on a mission. And I was maintaining the speed limit, probably going about 5 miles over the speed limit. And all of a sudden, all these fast food joints started popping up. There was the Arby's. And I said, no, I can't go in Arby's and take a shit. And then I passed by the Bojangles. I said, man, I could go drop one off at the pool at the Bojangles, get a box of 4-piece chicken, and get on down the road. But that wouldn't be good. It was still morning, and I'm on a diet. Then I passed by the Dairy Queen, the McDonald's, the Pizza Hut, a Huddle House, which is basically a clone of the Waffle House. Then I saw an O'Reilly's Auto Parts. I could go in there, use their bathroom. Problem is, I don't have any car parts that I need to buy. They sniff me out, no pun intended. They know that I was just in there taking a dump, because you just walk into a fast food place, take a shit, and then leave because, I don't know, I guess I just got too much pride and self-respect. If you're listening to the podcast, how much pride and self-respect can I have? And then I kept on going. I passed by Advanced Auto Parts, didn't stop. Wendy's, I love Wendy's. There's a Dollar General store. I could go get some stuff for the crib at the Dollar General store. No, Little Caesars Pizza. Little Caesars Pizza wasn't opened up yet. And then Home Depot. The Holy Grail. The Holy Grail for the people who like to do it themselves. And you know where the bathroom is in a Home Depot. Big-ass building, about 200 yards long, about 150 yards deep, bathroom in the far right corner. I figured if I stopped at the Home Depot, I could buy a 4-in-1 screwdriver to put in my rent-a-car, but by the time I made it to the far right corner, I probably shit my pants and embarrassed myself. So, then I finally saw a Chinese place called the Kobe Express. Chinese food, me dropping the kids off at the pool did not compute. I decided to squeeze my ass together as hard as I could, gassed it. I broke the speed limit. I was cool with all the law enforcement. Met them all at the Quick Stop when I was buying some Diet Red Bull the day before. Figured they'd let a brother slide if they pull me over. I would just pull over, put my car in park, roll the windows down, put both hands at 10 and 2, have my driver's license ready, say, sorry, officer, I was speeding. I got to take a shit ASAP or I'm going to shit all over this rent-a-car. And I don't want the extra cleanup charge because we're trying to keep the budget low on the Redneck Island show. Please don't take me in. Please don't give me a ticket. Please, I need to go to my hotel room and take a shit. Anyway, I didn't get pulled over. Good story is, I made it to the room and all the shit hit the fan. Cattywampus like a motherfucker, like a covey of quail flying out of my ass. And the thing about it was, the nice ladies there at the Holiday Inn Select had already cleaned up my room. The king-size suite. The hotel was brand new. So I did my business. I was okay. I had made it safely back to my hotel room. And finally, after that whole ordeal, my gut ache was gone. I was like a new man. I took a shower. It was time for me to pack my bags, put them in my car, and come over here and get into this illustrious house with all the owner's tags everywhere, with no place to put all my stuff, my personal belongings, my groceries, my little barbecue pit with the flicker of a flame, and get on with the task of hosting Redneck Island. And then I started thinking about it, and I said, man, this room has already been cleaned. The bed is made. All the towels have been folded. You just assaulted the commode. And I felt bad about it because I looked in the commode, and there was a skid mark on the back of that rim, a scuff mark, where, I had left a mark. And because the ladies had been so nice to me, there's no way I could insult them by leaving a skid mark on the back of the bowl. Now, we've all done it. Guys, gals, kids, babies, whoever's old enough to shit on a commode has scuffed the back of the bowl at one point or another at some point in their life. I've certainly done it on more than one occasion. Sometimes you can shit 30 times in a row and never scuff the bottom of a bowl. Next 5 shits, you scuff it every single time. Point being, I scuffed up the back of the bowl and felt guilty about it, and it was about 1 inch above the water line, so the water wasn't dissolving it. So because I'm a global icon and a national treasure, and I didn't want them gals coming back and having to specifically scrub up my skid mark after they had been so nice to me. I grabbed some toilet paper off that damn roll and scrubbed that shit stain off the back of that commode myself, flushed the commode twice, make sure it was clean, copacetic, cool, and ready to go, and rolled out of there cool, calm, and collected, signed some autographs on the way out, knowing that when I got to my car, packed all my shit up and drove off, that they wasn't going to have to scuff up the bottom of that bowl of the shit stain that I left for them. That's the kind of guy you got to be when you're a global icon and a national treasure. Hey, enough of me flapping my gums about all this bullshit, but those are true stories that I've been telling you. All right, but I want to say thank you very much for bearing with me and listening to a couple of my stories. As soon as I get this internet hooked up, hopefully I'll be able to talk to some people. And while I'm down here in this area, the Atlanta, Georgia area, I've been wanting to talk to some of the guys that live over here, so hopefully I'll be able to rustle some of those guys up. But be that as it may, I still got all kinds of shit to tell you about. But here's a couple of questions that came in from the show, and this comes from old Pete over in England. And he says to me, he's got a quick question. He goes, I'm joining the gym for the first time this week, and I was wondering if you had any tips on where I should start. Do I focus on one particular area like strength, or do I do a little bit of everything? Well, Pete, find you a personal trainer over there and just get him to work with you for a session or two. And basically for a youngster like yourself or a person who's new to the gym, you basically want to stick to big compound movements. Your bench press, your overhead press, your squats, a barbell curl, a barbell tricep extension, a lat pull down, or a bent over row, and obviously a deadlift as well. You need big compound movements. You don't need all the silly isolation movements because you need to work on just general fitness. Stick to your big compound movements, and if you just Google compound weightlifting movements on your computer, you can come up with an idea. Just train, if I was you, do it if this is your first time to the gym, 3 days a week. Call it Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, whatever it is. And then maybe graduate to 4 days a week and proceed accordingly. But more is not necessarily better in the beginning. So 3 to 4 days a week, I would say max. Don't go in there and go crazy on the treadmill. Stick to your basic movements. You want to kind of start off, I'd say keeping your reps between 10 and 12, no more than 15, no fewer than 8, if you're just looking to kind of tone up. The 10 range is going to be, your sweet spot for where you're at right now. You need to practice good form. That is paramount. Don't just, drop your weights up and down. Lift with precision, lift with good form. And you can get this again by going on the website, getting on YouTube, watching supertraining.tv. They've got a great website. Elite FTS is another great website. Now, these guys are going to be lifting some heavy-duty poundages, but in regards to form, can teach you a thing or two. Bodybuilding.com is another good website that you can get some 411. I'm sure there's a million out there, but just stick to the basics. Don't go crazy. And, from what I've said, you can almost do a whole body workout for your, first 3 to 6 months worth of training. And don't get all caught up. Don't do too many sets and bullshit like that. Do a little bit of reading, but stick to the basics. All right. Now, this comes from a cat named John over there in Alabama, which ain't too far from where I'm at. And, boy, I tell you what, I'm a big Crimson Tide fan, and I'm in Georgia Bulldog country, so I'm going to go ahead and answer your question. He says, when I pull up Unleashed on the podcast, every other show is missing, and I love the podcast. I drive a truck, and in 3 days, I've listened to all the episodes shown. That's because, John, there's 2 different shows, 2 entirely different feeds. Tuesday is the Steve Austin Show. Thursday is the Steve Austin Show Unleashed. You have to subscribe to both of them so they get sent automatically to your smartphone or your device. So indeed, there's 2 different shows, odd and even numbers. Here's one from a guy over here in Hartwell, Georgia. More of a statement. He said, how's it going, Steve? My name is Brad from here in Hartwell, Georgia. This isn't really a question, but a thank you. I met you today at the grocery store in Hartwell where Redneck Island is about to start filming. I just wanted to say thanks for taking the time to speak and take a picture with me. I know when you come to a small town like this, you get run down left and right, but you kept it cool, and even when you looked downright drained from the attention, you took a little time for each of us. On behalf of all of us, I once again say thank you for being so patient, and it was awesome meeting you. Best regards, Brad. I tell you what, Brad, this is one of the damn friendliest towns I've ever been in my life. Y'all have such beautiful country up and around here. It's been a pleasure driving back and forth from Livonia and Hartwell and in the general area. So it's a beautiful part of the world. All you guys and gals have been very, very cool to me, and I'm looking forward to spending another couple weeks up in this neighborhood. Hey, here's one. This is a heart-wrenching story. Someone tweeted this to me. P. Trimble tweeted this to me. Said, Steve, a whale is swimming very close to shore in Marina del Rey, and there's a picture of the whale. Is this near 316 Gimmick Street? You damn right it is. If you threw a rock about 8 times, you would be able to hit my house. Now, I looked at the picture. I remember this whale. A couple of years back, I was snorkeling, and I was going down about 200 feet. Because I was snorkeling, I didn't want to go too deep. 200 is about my limit. And I noticed a whale with a nose full of treble hooks, and it was this very whale. Thankfully, I had my Leatherman tool in my swimsuit. So I swam down after taking a great big breath of fresh air, snorkeled down, and met up with this whale. I don't know if he'd have made it if he still had those hooks embedded in his nose and snout. And so I went down there, removed them, put a couple sutures in him, and he looks like he's doing just fine. I bet what happened is he came back to say thank you to me and to say hello and to see if I wanted to go on a swim, but I'm over here doing Redneck Island. So, yeah, that's close to 316 Gimmick Street. He was just probably coming over to say hello, and last time I pulled him hooks out of his nose, we sat down and had a beer together and had a little bit of visit, so he's doing fine. He's just cruising the neighborhood, seeing if me or Hershey's around to chill out. Here's one. All right, that was bullshit, folks. We know that was straight-up bullshit. I wasn't underneath the water in the snorkel outfit over 200 feet down, pulling the damn treble hooks out of a whale's nose and then having a beer with him underneath the surface. But when you got no internet and you got fuck all, you make chicken salad out of chicken shit. Now, some of you might be saying, Steve, I don't know that you actually made chicken salad out of that chicken shit. I'm calling you bluff. I'm saying that was chicken shit from start to finish. Well, you know, that's your opinion. You're entitled to your opinion. If you listen to the Steve Austin show, you're damn right. So whether it turned into chicken salad from chicken shit is up to you and up to you only. I'm going to go ahead and claim I turned that into chicken salad. But I'm the one making the show, flapping my gums, looking at that damn recorder here on the table. I got a question for you. This is a wrestling question. Y'all guys like when I talk wrestling. You send me so many wrestling questions. Here's one for you. Steve, how do you feel about the very audible spot calling in the ring nowadays? Why do you believe the wrestlers are now so very vocal in the ring? Certainly someone in the back has had to say something to them about this. Lately has become very loud and has really started distracting me from the work in the ring, and it's killing the immersion. Brian Stafford sent in that imperative email to me. These days, Brian, they have that ring mic'd so heavily to get all that sound, to capture all that action. You're going to pick up a few calls here and there. Now, to that point, guys, you got to keep your head down. You got to use your hands, use your forearms, pull your opponent in close, get them in behind you, or you get behind them. And, my favorite technique, I wasn't the guy that had hair so that I could use my hair to cover a call. So most times when I was making my calls, it was picking a guy up off the mat and talking to him, and we had our heads together, and I was looking down so you never saw my mouth. Now, am I saying I'm the best in the world at that? No, I am not. You can go back and watch Jerry Lawler matches with Bill Dundee, watch those guys work. You'll never see or hear one single thing. And Jerry Lawler was like a master ventriloquist. Jerry, you could be pacing the ring, just walking around before you even locked up. Jerry's already calling a high spot. which was troubles for me because I couldn't hear him. And basically, the people in the front row knew the high spot, and I didn't. But it just goes to show the cameras are closer, the mics are hotter, the work has been lost a little bit. So guys and gals in the ring, and this also happens a lot more because you're working off a match which has already been fabricated, so they're just calling the next spot rather than laying in a hold, getting a spot from the guy who's calling the match. So it is what it is. But to your point, it does kill the immersion when you're just trying to enjoy it for what it is and watch a good storyline going on. Last thing you want to do is tackle, drop down, hip toss, clothesline, clothesline, clothesline. All that bullshit. I hear you. All right, guys, gals, clean it up in the ring. Cover up your calls. Here was the tweet that came in from me, and I can't remember who tweeted it to me, but they said, Steve, will you be addressing your selfie-taking situation? LOL. Okay, folks, the other day I got a shipment of shirts, and one of them was from my friend Jumpin' Jim Ross, JR. The shirt where it's a kind of a caricature drawing of him, and he's got a coon underneath his arm, and the caption is, goofier than a pet coon, which is just an old saying for someone who's a little off. And I took a selfie, and you could see the camera, my iPhone, in the mirror. Once again, I state, to the point, brass tacks, that was a photo of me by me. That was a photo of myself taken by myself. Selfies is what so many celebrities and other folks do. I take pictures of myself by myself. I wouldn't say pictures. That implies that there was many before that or many more to come. That's not the case. That was a picture of myself by myself, and I will leave it at that. And in a world where so many people think that I am so macho and tough, am I not entitled or given the right credence or wherewithal, the same platform to take a picture as the rest of humanity? Am I the only human being walking the face of God's green earth that is not allowed to take a picture of myself by myself? That is the question. And if you want to answer that question, you send it to questions@steveaustonshow.com. And that's all I got to say about that. Hey, here's one for you. Hey, Steve, what's the one thing you love most about doing your podcast? That's from old Wassam over in Southampton, England. I got a lot of damn people listening to the show in England. England, what's up? Sometimes it's sitting here shooting the breeze with you guys on the microphone, making shit up, trying to make chicken salad out of chicken shit, sometimes accomplishing that task, sometimes failing miserably at that task. Sometimes I like shooting the shit and just talking to some of my partners in crime who come from the world of pro wrestling, or some of the cats that I've talked to from the world of MMA. So I guess just flapping my gums. But sometimes, you know, when you get checked into a situation like I did and you can't get all your ducks in a row, you ain't got no internet, and you're kind of under the gun, and you're kind of filming a reality television show, sometimes it gets a little scrambled up. So I just weather the storm, put my head down. And, you know, at the end of the day, the reason I started doing this podcast was just to be able to have a platform to voice my opinions and entertain people and interact with my fan base. So sometimes people say I interview people too many times, and they would rather just hear me shoot the shit. Sometimes it's the other way around. Hey, we need you to do more interviews. So I never like to put my podcast in a box. It ain't the way my brain works. I want to give you guys quality content. If you send me questions, comments, or suggestions to questions@steveaustonshow.com, I can further facilitate your needs, wants, desires, and what you want out of a podcast. Because if my listeners do not help me, I could be cranking out stuff that they don't give a flying shit about. So I do this podcast for myself, but I do it for you, to entertain you and to kind of take your mind off the task at hand, whether you're having a good day, bad day, horrendous day, and you're driving to work to pay them bills, you're coming home from work, you just got to pay them bills, or you're at work, listening while you're paying the bills while you work. That's why I do it. So Send me some feedback to questions@steveaustenshow.com.
This has been a Podcast One production. Download new episodes of The Steve Austin Show every Tuesday at PodcastOne.com. That's PodcastOne.com.
See what hit blockbusters are streaming free this month during Popcorn Summer Movies on Pluto TV. Watch Django Unchained or Transformers Dark of the Moon for an action-packed evening, or The Truman Show and School of Rock for a good laugh with the whole family. Plus, Pluto TV has thousands of other free movies available on live and on demand. Download Pluto TV on all your favorite devices for free and start streaming now.
Guess who's on the Adam Carolla Show? Sean Astin.
Encino Man, which I can't imagine you remember, but that was Brendan Fraser's kind of most popular movie, breakout movie.
Know it well. Never saw Lord of the Rings. Seen Encino Man more times.
You've seen Encino Man 15 times. Yeah. I know. It says a lot about you. Kiwi Kwan, who was then going as Daniel Kwan, had a small little part in that movie. It was Pauly Shore, and then I was the kind of straight man to Pauly and Brendan. The fact that these two guys, I actually posted a picture of the two of them, of Brendan and Keith, shaking hands, and then in the background, me and Pauly, small in the background, are like, huh? And for them to find a part that people would love, I just so proud of them, so great for them. Now it's between me and Pauly who's going to get the next one.
The Adam Carolla Show, wherever finer podcasts are found.
Yo, what's good? It's your boy, Big Brother Jake, a.k.a. Jake Warner, my government name. Check it out. I host a show called the Big Brother Jake Podcast, and I've taken my talents to the biggest and baddest platform on the planet. That's right, baby, PodcastOne. My show is unique as I talk about everything. Life, sports, entertainment, being a single dad juggling several jobs. I'm a hot mess, but it's damn entertaining. Subscribe and review now on Apple Podcasts and listen on PodcastOne or wherever you get your podcasts.